Yo, yo, welcome to Week 9 NFL. Dell and Pinky coming at you.
Saturday morning.
We're going to bring our genius picks as we do every single week for you.
They weren't too genius last week, but nobody's was.
Let's be honest, they're never genius.
Just in our own minds.
In our own minds. Hope you guys are all having a great week. And now it's coming to a close, so we can focus on sports and things that have no bearing in reality, which I think is my favorite part about sports, especially
For
right
sure.
now.
For sure.
First up, Detroit versus Minnesota. Minnesota favored by 5. I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one. I think Dalvin Cook is just too much for the Lions historically, and they're probably really confident coming off that win versus Green Bay, so I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one, covering the 5, in fact.
Lions' last few games, stopping the run is fool's gold. Dalvin Cook's going to run all over them. They cover the 5 points rather easily.
I like it when you piggyback off my points. Makes me sound so smart. But also, if I'm wrong, then it makes you equally as culpable.
Yes. I never deny my dumbness.
Step 1 is self-awareness all the time. Next up, Denver versus Atlanta. Atlanta favored by 4. Drew Lock has 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions.
Yes. He did lead his team back, though, last week.
He did lead his team back last week.
Maybe a little momentum? I don't know.
We'll see. I don't know if momentum really works week to week in football physically. I know it does mentally.
Yeah. Physically is a whole different story.
And I think both of these teams are evenly matched in the sense of Denver's 3-4, Atlanta's 2-6. I'm going to go with Atlanta to. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not going to go with Atlanta to cover. I'm going to go with them not to cover. Despite who wins the game, I don't think Atlanta covers the 4.
Offense is still pretty good. Defense is atrocious there in Atlanta. Drew Lock had a comeback last week, like I just mentioned. Looked pretty decent. Still turnover prone. I think he'll probably resort back to his old ways. That was just, like I said, with the Lions, fool's gold. That comeback last week, and I think Atlanta gets it done.
Word. I mean, time and again, Matt Ryan showing us that he could just turn a normal weapon into some sort of machine. Todd Gurley's, I think he's tied for the league lead in touchdowns, or he leads the league in touchdowns.
And leads the league in
rushing
touchdowns for losses. Welcome back to the Lions game.
I mean,
Atlanta.
at some point, I mean, your brain takes over of I have to score, like
so he can get paid.
Well, right. I mean, you're already getting paid, but
right.
I mean,
well, there's
I get
incentives
that.
in there, you know.
Absolutely. Next up, Seattle versus Buffalo, 6-1 versus 6-2. Seattle's favored by 3 on the road. What do you think about this one, Pinky? This is interesting. Battle of really good teams here. One of the best games of the week, probably.
DK Metcalf's coming on like a madman. His comparisons to Calvin Johnson are asinine at best. But he's coming on. He's a scary man. Very fast, very large, very strong. He's a problem. Russell Wilson's still cooking.
I wouldn't say asinine, but premature.
Definitely premature.
Certainly
okay,
premature.
we'll say premature at best. Asinine in my mind. Anyways, Seattle, man, they come in and they get the job done. Russ and DK are just cooking. Lockett's still out there too, doing his thing. They've been looking pretty good. The offensive line's been holding up pretty well for Russ. Their defense is still horrible.
Buffalo's defense is not great.
And Buffalo's defense is not, they weren't what they were last year. They're still a steady defense, but they're not anything special at all. And Russ is going to do his thing. And hopefully DK Metcalf has a good game, just not too good because the guy I'm playing in fantasy has DK Metcalf.
Right on. Yeah, you don't want him to get too comfortable. What's that? I'm looking for the matchup here. It's I think it's Tre'Davious White. I just want to check before I name drop, even though that's exactly what I just did. Tre'Davious White. Yeah, Tre'Davious White and DK Metcalf this weekend should be a great matchup. I heard some people talking about it, and then I went and checked it out, and absolutely it should be a great matchup. This guy's, I mean, Tre'Davious White's 5'11", so it's not like he's going to.
I see him unlock it more than DK.
Tre'Davious White's their guy, though. I mean,
he is.
He's
sure.
gonna. I mean, obviously, him and a safety, they're not just going to let DK Metcalf run.
No, they're going to play over-under on him for sure.
Exactly. I'm going to go with Buffalo this game, not to necessarily win, but I think that they'll keep it close enough. The game should be really close. Seattle likes to win games at the last minute. I think 3 is fair, and really, whoever wins this game, it doesn't really matter. They're both playing really well this season.
Well, it depends on Josh Allen too, how he plays against that defense, that horrible defense, because that offense goes as he goes.
Right. I mean, and equally, Buffalo's defense might be a little bit better than Seattle's, potentially better.
Oh, they're better, I think.
So when you get into the heat of the moment, I think that the defenses step up the best they can, but ultimately ends up being like call it like 31 to 30 type game. That I think could go both ways. It could be Buffalo.
I mean, I think it'll be a close game, but I think Seattle wins by a touchdown at least.
Gotcha. All right, right on. Next up, Chicago versus Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 6.5 at home. Chicago's lost running back, I believe. Montgomery?
Yeah, I mean, and Tariq Cohen's out too for the year.
Tariq Cohen's
So
out for the
they're
year.
pretty thin.
And there's some quarterback talk about Nick Foles not getting the job done. Let's see what happens. But I mean,
I think he was,
Tennessee,
2-3 since
Tennessee
he
just
took
got
over.
beat by Cincinnati. I mean, Chicago is not going to throw the ball like Cincinnati did. And so obviously
No.
I'm not sure that they can
You need to be able to throw on
expose Tennessee's defense as well as Cincinnati's did.
for sure. And Tennessee's defense is horrible on third down, and you need a quarterback to convert those third downs. That's mainly where the quarterback eats is on third downs. So we could see how Burrow had a good game against that defense because Joe Burrow's a stud, and they have really good receivers, and it's just how it goes there.
For sure.
In Cincinnati, it's just their defense is horrible. They would have more games if their defense was just not total crap.
So you think Tennessee comes out ass kicking this week, and Chicago goes to 5-4?
Yes, yeah, I believe Tennessee takes that and covers the points. I think
6.5.
I think Derrick Henry has a good game. I think Tannehill is going to be the one that eats, though. Him and Davis, I think, are going to hook up for lots of yards, couple touchdowns. And Derrick Henry's still going to get his food. Obviously, he's going to probably go for 100, even though their rush defense is pretty stout there in Chicago. But they're going to get beat every way. And they don't have the playmakers on offense to really expose Tennessee's defense when they get into third down because every other down they're pretty decent. They're okay defense, and on passing downs they should be getting more pressure with the guys they have there on the ends.
Right.
But it's just for some reason it's not clicking. But
it's
it could
not,
click.
yeah.
It could click at any time though. That's the thing when you have athletes like that. It could click at any time, and then you have a problem.
I see a low-scoring game this one. I see more like a 21-17. That does favor Tennessee. So I'm going to go with them not to cover, but I do think that they're going to win the game. But I see this being more of a defensive type game.
Really?
Next up, Baltimore at Indiana.
Good game.
Epolis. Is this even? That's even. There's no line
game.
on this. Baltimore at Indiana. Baltimore is not. I mean, at 5-2, they're not playing as well as they were last year by any stroke of the imagination. Whether it's on the defensive side or it's on the offensive side, I think they're still fine on the defensive side. But I mean, their offense struggles against people who figure them out. And man, Indianapolis is a good defense. So I will pick Baltimore to win the game. Since it's dead nuts even, it doesn't matter about points. I think Baltimore is a better team, and we'll figure it out.
We have seen it year in and year out. One read and dash quarterbacks that cannot hit consistent throws get figured out. They always do. Always. Mike Vick is the exception, and Mike Vick wasn't even that great of a passer. So with that being said, Indianapolis rush defense is amazing. They're going to limit that run. Their offense is suspect, but they have been coming on as of late. So we'll see what happens there because Baltimore's defense is rather stout on the themselves. So it's really going to be a battle of defenses, and I think that Baltimore is going to make more plays just because they have the more dynamic offensive players just to spring one. But they're definitely going to have a hard time treading water against Indianapolis. With that said, though, Baltimore, I think, gets the win.
Word. Carolina at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 10.5. Carolina seems like a decent game. They play a disciplined game with Matt Rule as coach. I would say that they played decent defense against Kansas City. But in the end, Kansas City is just a monster that they can't handle. Carolina's not ready for this type of matchup. I think Kansas City covers the 10.5.
Kansas City covers 10.5. I mean, we really don't have to talk about it. Carolina's a solid team at best, really, and then they're in the South too, where they're playing against the Tampa Brady's and New Orleans Saints. So it's kind of rough sledding there.
I mean, they're adding Le'Veon Bell too, like extra plays here and there.
Right.
He's getting more comfortable in the offense. That's going to be.
I see
team to
Kansas
stop.
City just pretty much cruising through this game, covering the 10.5 rather easy.
Maybe struggling early just because, like I said, like Matt Rule plays like a discipline type game. Like he's going to play fundamental football, and they're going to minimize the mistakes, and people are going to be in the right position. But I think in the end, it's just man, those guys are way too fast.
Way too good.
Yep, and
Way too good. And I see
Carolina's-
Le'Veon getting more touches this week.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
as he gets more touches and gets rolling, we know Le'Veon's going to be the same guy he was 2 years ago or 3 years ago at Pittsburgh.
For sure.
And it's just going to be a problem for any team that plays Kansas City.
I mean, when you add Le'Veon to that already stout offense, I mean, everybody's really fast, but now you add a patient person. I mean, he's a completely different
great
change.
hands
He's a
and great
completely
route
different
runner.
change of pace from all of their players. Like most people, are so fast, and they're going to hit that hole so fast, or they're going to hit, they're going to come into their breaks really quick, and they're going to get open. Le'Veon Bell's just the kind of guy who's just going to wait and play it out as a season, kind of improvise everything as he goes. And man, if he isn't the best at that, that's going to be a hard team. That's going to be a hard team.
Yeah, they're not playing around. They're
Absolutely not. Next up, New York Giants at Washington FT. Washington favored by 2.5.
I like that look.
I mean, it's New York has 1 win. Washington has 2 wins. Ron Rivera is probably a better coach than Joe Judge. Daniel Jones is, I don't know. I guess their quarterbacks might just be on par with each other.
Well, Daniel Jones likes to give the ball away. He makes horrible decisions. We've seen that last week.
Not having
and
Saquon
throughout the
Barkley is
season,
really hurting their ability to make any type of big plays.
for sure.
I go with Washington covering the 2.5.
J.D. McKissick's been playing great for Washington.
McKissick, good old Lion.
The football team, they look like a decent team. They have the works of being a decent team, whereas the Giants, they don't really have anything going on with them. Tate's disgruntled right now. He wants out of there. I think he got kicked out of the facilities, actually, if I read that right this morning.
Interesting. Just arguing with people.
Yeah, he wants out of there, man, and I don't blame him. Tate's way too good of a receiver to be there. He could be a great second or third choice slot receiver on a good team, and get himself something.
That sucks too, because like if you're the NFL, like a lot of these guys are so competitive. I mean, that's how you get there in the first place, is by having that mentality. But I mean, if you're tired of losing, and that's your mentality, is I'm tired of losing, it could easily come off as I want out here. But that could just not be the case. Sometimes it's the only way people can read into it. So I like Golden Tate. I think he's a stand-up dude, and he's a good possession receiver. And I mean, when you're losing a lot, I'm not going to really, I'm not going to blame everything. I'm not going to say that you overreacted in any way or try
Just
to
like
rush.
the Le'Veon Bell thing.
Right.
We totally don't blame him for wanting out of that cesspool.
Shit. Everybody got out of there too. I mean, they just
Right.
a fire sale at the Jets. So I mean, why not Le'Veon? So I'm happy for him. Happy for.
Anyways, I have Washington covering.
I have Washington
sure.
covering as well. Next up, Houston at Jacksonville. This is one of the best games of the week, strictly because they're both 1-6. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's a divisional matchup, and I think that Deshaun Watson should definitely be able to find his stride. Even if it's just for one game, I think that he'll look like that dominant passer and take over the game type guy with Jacksonville versus Jacksonville. They're favored by 7. Houston favored by 7 this week, by the way. What do you got? Pink stink.
Against Jacksonville, that offense is going to look pretty decent. Fuller and Cobb and Watson and company, they probably do some damage against Jacksonville, and I think they get it done.
You think they cover 7?
Yeah. I think they do. They ride on into the sunset with their second win.
A 1-win team favored by 7 on the road.
That's how much the league or Vegas hates Jacksonville.
I'm going to go against it. I mean, I think Houston wins, but I mean, 7 points on the road as a 1-win team, I just can't see. Despite all those things I said about Deshaun Watson finding his stride, I think that he could probably do that. But 1 win and 6 losses shows me you haven't figured out how to do that yet, and I'm going to go with no. Next up, Las Vegas at the Chargers. Dead nuts even game again. Chargers are 4-3. I'm sorry. Vegas is 4-3. Chargers are 2-5. They've played a lot of close games. Vegas just beats good teams. So
right.
Chargers not a good team. What happens here, Pink?
Chargers win.
Chargers win?
I think the Chargers win, man. That offense, I say it every week, man. That offense is ready to explode and really has, to be honest with you, a couple times.
If Vegas can stop good receivers, though, I mean.
They can't.
Well, I mean, they have. They've stopped.
I think their defense came up big in those games. That's the only times they come up big. I mean, they play. Yeah, they play.
That's what I mean.
They play down to their level. You know what I'm
Vegas
saying?
can shut down Keenan Allen. They can probably do that.
But what about Mike Williams? He's one of the best deep ball receivers in the league, and you have a guy that rockets it out there. You know what I mean?
The fact that you have both of those guys is why it should be closer. But I think Vegas should find a way to get to win this game. The Chargers 2-5. I still think Herbert's a great thrower, and he's just figuring stuff out. Man, his passes look really.
They're awesome passes. The guy's going to be a stud. I mean,
he is a stud. It's just a matter of building a good team around
him. And Burrow, it's down to him and Burrow for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, because both guys are just
Burrow's
really good quarterbacks.
If he reels off 4 or 5 wins in a row, he's going to be in the MVP discussion because he's throwing it so much.
Yeah, he's throwing it tons. What did he have, 50 throws fucking 2 games ago or something?
Something like that.
Ridiculous.
I mean, as a rookie, he leads the league in pass attempts. So
I mean, he got to. I mean, he's basically Stafford again. You know.
So who do you have in this one? You got the Chargers?
Yeah, I got the Chargers.
Okay, you got the Chargers. I'm taking the Raiders. Next up, Pittsburgh versus Dallas. Pittsburgh favored by 14.5 on the road as an undefeated team. It's like not their game to win by that much, but goddamn, Dallas cannot score.
No,
they just cannot. And I think Andy Dalton's still out.
And their defense can't stop anything.
And Ganucci was so terrible last week that they're going to actually, I think, try out the third string, the 2 practice squad guys.
Ganucci.
Jesus.
I bet you we see him again before the end of the night.
Right, well, the other 2, yeah, he's going to be the third string quarterback on this depth chart, and he'll still play in this game.
Right, because they're going to be so bad against this Pittsburgh team.
Oh my God, Jerry Jones needs to talk to somebody. I think just figure out who you can bring in, man. You've convinced people to do stupider things, but come out of retirement, anybody, will you please play quarterback for us? Troy, come back.
38-6.
38-6. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh easily covers this one. 38-6 sounds about right though. I like it. I'm going to go with 38-13 though.
Okay. All right. Have him get a touchdown with those 2 field goals.
Yeah. Cuz I mean,
they still have Ezekiel Elliott.
You might just luck your way into one at the end.
Right, like a stupid fumble or something too that could just set them up good, to where they're on the 1 yard line and they can push their way in somehow, some way.
Pittsburgh, I looked at their schedule. They could easily, I mean, if they win, I think they have a couple of tough games, but I mean, the rest of their schedule does not really look that difficult.
Right.
I mean, but anyway, Pittsburgh covers. Miami at Arizona next up. Arizona favored by 4.5. Kyler Murray is looking better and better every week. Man.
Miami's looking better and better as a team every week, though.
They were showing some tape on him, and he just going through his progressions, like you were saying earlier about the one progression and then you run guy.
Yeah, you can't be that guy.
You can't. And Kyler Murray has, I mean, obviously people say at 5'11" or however big he is that he wasn't going to be able to get it done, and he wasn't a pure passer. He was going to run too much. That is absolutely untrue. They went through this tape where he went from one to the second guy and then to the third, but then back to the second guy. Like, he went through every single progression. You saw his helmet move. You saw the plays develop, and he moved around and he steps up in the pocket, and he's just everything. He's everything you need him to be, but he's just about 5 inches shorter than what you really want.
Right.
But I think that Arizona covers the 4.5.
Miami's been playing great. Tua has to show us more. He has to show us more to win this game.
I mean, the defense can't do that again, right?
And special teams?
And special teams, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, the defense has been playing really well, and the offense is still a question. Devontae Parker's still Devontae Parker, because we don't know what Tua's going to do. We seen him manage the game last week only because he had to. What's going to happen, or only because he could, I'm sorry. What's going to happen when he has to put the team on his shoulders and make big throws? That's my question.
It's everybody's question, too.
You know what? I still always have questions of going from a right-handed to a left-handed quarterback. The spin's different, so how's that going to affect the receivers? But other than that, it's such a hard game for me to call because I'm kind of high on the Miami Dolphins right now, and I was extremely disappointed when Fitzpatrick got benched, but he took it with stride.
I thought it was a weird move, but I thought it was the right move, honestly, because
Tua is the quarterback of the future, and Fitzpatrick is being willing to mentor.
The only other option was waiting for him to be bad, which I'm sorry.
It's going to happen.
It was going to happen. Historically, we knew that was going to happen. So I think doing this changes the narrative of it, and it gives Tua an opportunity to step up in a light where they're already winning. So he has, a feeling of let's keep this team rolling. And then at the same time, the defense is playing well. I honestly, though, just not well enough. I don't think for this game, Kyler Murray he's got more experience. He's got D-Hop, So I think Arizona comes in and really knows how to get this done. Cliff Kingsbury's probably very familiar with Tua.
Arizona's at home too, right?
Arizona is at home. Yeah, hard place to play.
So Yeah, I'll take Arizona to cover.
4.5 is not a lot, but I think they
It's
do.
not, and I have a hard time because Miami's playing so good. It's just the big question marks too. What is he going to do when he has to make the throw?
Yeah, I mean, this if they're down in this game at the end of the game and he has to come back and make some sort of come ahead or go ahead drive, I mean, he hasn't had to do that in the NFL yet.
Right. This will be a telling game for Tua because this is a good team.
It's definitely an interesting matchup, and I hope it comes on TV, CBS at 4:30. Next up, New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay favored by 4.5. Me and Pinky argued about this a couple days ago. It was a great argument, and we came away with exactly what we went in with, the disagreement.
Right. It didn't change nothing.
It did. I wish we could have recorded it. It was fantastic. He thinks New Orleans is a better team than Tampa Bay, slightly better, possibly better.
Well, I said this game is going to tell us.
This game's going to tell us.
Especially with the injuries to New Orleans.
Even though New Orleans did beat Tampa Bay earlier in the year, first game of the season already, and Tampa Brady's, they didn't really have their chemistry going yet. Obviously, Tampa Bay learning his new system and the new receivers and all that. Drew Brees coming into a team he's owned for the last 10 years. I think advantage Brees, but now we have the Brady's hooking up with the chemistry. I mean, they're adding Antonio Brown for crying out loud. Rojo's, I mean, he's exactly what they need him to be, but at the same time, Drew Brees now has no Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas only played in that game. So
He only had 3 catches, though.
I honestly think that even though you're saying this game will tell us, I don't think this game will tell us because even New Orleans is now not fully healthy, but you know, this is a divisional matchup, so everybody will be playing hard. And
With that, with how New Orleans is sitting right now, and New Orleans defense got better too. Let's not forget that in the past week, they've gotten better. They've actually upgraded quite a bit. But with the injuries, I don't expect New Orleans really to win this game. To be honest with you,
they don't have to necessarily win.
well,
They just
no.
gotta lose by less than
On a
4.5.
sheer win-loss thing, I don't see New Orleans beating Tampa Bay.
Not
just
right now,
just
no.
because of the injuries, but it's going to tell us more about Tampa Bay, how they play against a team that's depleted, that is obviously on par with them.
Sure.
So I'm looking at that. What was the spread again? 4.5.
Yes.
So with that being said, and they're in Tampa, I'm gonna take the Buccaneers to cover the 4.5. But at the end of the day, I still think New Orleans is probably the better team right now. Or not right now, I'm sorry, but overall, when healthy. And we'll see if they get healthy, if Michael Thomas comes back, whatever's going on in that locker room with him. I'm sure they're going to meet each other in the playoffs. That's how I think it, because it's going to be down. It's 4 teams in the NFC. I mean, we can pretty much agree on, right?
Right.
New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Seattle.
So Tampa Bay's last 3 games have been versus the Chargers, the Panthers, and the Bears. And they have won every single one of those games by 3 points. 2 of them in OT.
New Orleans?
Yes, by not scoring more than 30 points, and obviously only by winning by 3. So,
Yeah.
and the Chargers, Carolina, and Chicago,
They're
I call
not-
those very pedestrian. I
Right,
mean,
they
actually,
are.
the Chargers have a good offense. I think the Chargers have the best offense of any of those
right,
teams.
and the Bears have a good defense, but
So I'm going to go ahead and say that New Orleans defense stepping up these past few weeks has been versus not such
not
great
really good
offenses.
teams. Right.
Outside of, I think the Chargers do have a good offense. But that being said, honestly, like Tampa Bay is hitting their stride, even though let's forget about what we saw last week. We all know that they were probably looking around the corner to this game. The Giants are just dropping hot sloppies every single week.
All the
Daniel Jones,
time.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not buying him yet. Dave Gettleman,
they could have won. They could at least win into overtime. Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see
Or was it Monday?
anything
Monday
positive
night.
out of that guy. I mean, I see very few positive things that are consistent, to be more specific. So, anyways, but back to the point. I'm going with Tampa Bay to cover the 4.5 even.
Tampa Bay covering.
You know what? I'm going to rescind that. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay not to cover. I do think they're going to win the game.
Just because New Orleans games have all been close. Recently.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's a fair assessment.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even the ones they've lost were really close. So, anyways, last up of the week 9, New England at the New York Jets.
Horrible
The Jets are
game.
0-8 hosting New England, who is 2-5, and they've lost 4 in a row, and New England's favored by 8. What happens? What does Cam do, Pink?
He dominates them. This is going to be
has
Cam
to,
coming
right?
back party, against a horrible team. There's nothing better to go up against aside from the Jets. Outside, I'm
Best way
sorry,
to get
outside
back
of
on
the
track.
Jets.
Best way to get back on track.
And it's the best way to get your groove back.
Man, Bill Belichick's just got to be questioning what he's going to be doing for the rest of his career now. Like, is this
Probably
what
contemplating retirement.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is he can't go out on this note, though.
True.
And if he finishes bad enough, all he's going to do is just draft a good quarterback.
How many coaches go out on top? Not many. I think he'll ride it out for a little while.
Probably about as many as, I don't know, not as many as players do, because I remember Ray Lewis, John Elway, Peyton Manning.
They all pretty much went out on top.
You think if Brady wins that Super Bowl this year that he retires?
No. He's so egotistical that I think he'll continue playing until he can't play no more.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 48 out there. Like, dude, I don't need to throw it 30 yards. Do you see me winning every single game, throwing
Right.
it between 5 and 10 yards at a time? I got playmakers,
Right.
and I got the best offensive line. That's all he needs.
Pretty much.
And when
He'll
he's-
make the right decision.
when he
Tom Brady
senses-
doesn't make very many bad decisions.
No, when he senses danger, he goes right down. He'll go he just goes down. He doesn't even need you to take him down. He's like, all right, whatever, next play.
Right.
He's past it.
He's not Brett Favre taking all those hits.
I mean, it's going to come down to how many hits a game can he sustain.
For sure.
Because 40, what is he, 43?
I don't know. I'm 36 and I don't want to get hit one time by those guys.
Good grief, no. But I mean, he keeps himself in shape.
Yeah, I mean their workout regimen's way different than ours. He's used to it.
Right on. Well, that concludes week 9, and stay tuned Sunday morning or Sunday evening or Monday evening or any of those. We'll be live on Twitch. Like us on Facebook. You can even check out some of our videos on YouTube.
All that Dell and Pinky.
Dell and Pinky. Yep, that's right. Good night, everybody.
Later.